I bring it up all the time on the show, and people get all fired up.
I'll come back. We'll have that conversation.
Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. 36 minutes past the hour. Great to have you along. Great to be with you right here on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. 34 degrees here in Wichita, Kansas. Stay safe as it's a little drizzly, a little cold, a little freezing, a little slippery, sliding around. Drive slower than usual. Unless you have a nice little car. No, I'm just kidding. All right, in studio here to kind of shifting gears a little bit, I want to talk about how to protect yourself, how to keep yourself secure during the holidays. You're buying stuff on Amazon, you're buying stuff on Overstock, you're buying stuff from websites, you're having stuff delivered to your home, you're going out and you're using your credit card all the time to buy your Christmas stuff. You had stressful times with the family during this, with financial times with the holiday season, and you have the potential to be hacked, to have your identity stolen, to have your credit card information stolen, to rack it up, and guess what? You get your bill, and you say, I didn't buy all that. I didn't buy a trip to the Bahamas as much as I would have liked one.
Right.
So, Attorney Bill Zimmerman in studio to talk some about this. How are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Hey, fantastic. Appreciate you swinging in here as well this morning. And how many cases do you see during the, is it a big spike during the holiday season compared to the rest of the year?
Well, what I do is somewhat seasonal anyway. We typically... We were kidding yesterday at the office that the phones are very quiet now, and they will be through the first of the year. But once the first round of bills hit in January, we tend to get busy.
That's when it happens.
Yeah, it's very seasonal. But that's usually a function of, oh, I spent a little too much on the grandkids, rather than identity theft or credit card theft. But there are those components too. And, you know, credit cards are a fact of life, or debit cards. It can happen either way, anything with a number. Mm-hmm. It's your money, and you've got to protect it. But the first rule, I think, is don't commit your number to something you're not sure is real. If somebody contacts you saying, hey, there's a problem with your account, we need, or something came up and we can't deliver this, we need your number. They don't need your number. They want
your number.
They
yes.
want your number.
I mean, predominantly, if there is an issue with your credit card, you usually get an email from that bank, that Capital One, whoever it is, kind of thing, saying, "Hey, there's a problem." But you'd usually get a text message or an email, not a phone call from a random person saying, "Hey, we have a problem with your account. What's that account number again?"
Yeah. If they knew the number, if they have your number, because you're a customer, they don't need your number.
Right.
Same way with Social Security numbers. It's the same thing. They have those. So, be very suspicious. Well, be utterly suspicious if you get some message that there's a problem and we need your information again. Mm-hmm. And if you do get one of those, it's easy. Just go to whoever you're dealing with, go into their website, and 99.5 times out of 100, you'll probably find out there's no problem.
There's no problem. Sure.
Right. So that's the first rule. Second rule is, and this isn't theft as much as common sense, be careful. Credit cards are easy to use. The bill doesn't come for 30 days.
Yeah, I gotta work on that one.
You gotta, I mean, that's why I like debit cards.
Sure.
It's like a check. You can use it, it's handy, it's convenient, but it's hard to overspend because you can only spend what you've got.
I almost got to go back to just having cash in hand, because even with the debit card, that's supposed to be for a bill, but I'll compensate for it later. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I speak a lot at high schools and to high school teachers about economic education and credit counseling, that kind of thing. And it's funny. They know. But it's amazing how many people that I talk to that don't really know that a debit card is simply a substitute for a check. They think it's a credit card.
Really?
Yes.
Holy cow.
I see that same experience. Before I got back into radio, I was working at a bank. And the instances of people coming in not understanding why there's no money in their account because they used their debit card so many times, you'd be surprised how many people, that actually takes it out of the account.
Really?
Yes.
I don't understand it. here's your sign. You know, I don't understand it, but yeah, there are those
crazy.
people that wait a second, that actually attaches to your account.
Yeah.
Why am I $100 overdrawn with a bunch of $36 overdraft charges?
It's kind
No
of like
wonder
the
you're
people.
so busy out there, Jeff.
It's kind of like the people. Well, I've got checks in a checkbook. I'll just we'll
Oh,
It doesn't
just
work
keep
that
writing.
way.
And that one as well. That's a
Yeah.
fun experience. They're
Yeah.
trying to explain that to someone. You just really,
Yeah.
Bill, how can folks get a hold of you if they're having, they need a credit counselor or they need help or?
Well, I'm going to give you a couple ideas, and fortunately in Wichita we have a wonderful resource that has been here for years of consumer credit counseling service,
Right.
and they're kind of the gateway to us as a bankruptcy lawyer, and they're really good and they're local. Unfortunately, and this is again, there's scams and there's all kinds of stuff out there that you see, on late night cable and internet, whatever. There are a lot of, if you got $10,000 in credit card debt, call us, those kinds of
Right.
things. I tell people to avoid those on principle. But here in Wichita, we have an agency at 265-2000 that is a legitimate, nonprofit, responsible, ethical group that does consumer credit counseling. And also, originally their purpose was set up to work people through payment plans on credit cards because they had relationships with credit cards and lenders that to avoid bankruptcy.
Wow,
That's
okay.
why they
Yeah.
were formed years ago.
Right.
And we work with them because now in order to file a bankruptcy you have to go to them first to see if
Really?
they have an alternative. Mhm.
Yeah.
And they issue what amounts to a license to file bankruptcy. But I refer people there all the time for consumer credit counseling, for identity theft issues, for straightening out credit report issues, which is a huge problem. Huge problem and getting huger. To coin a phrase, huger.
Huger. It's a huge problem.
They're really good, and I always tell people to call them first
Okay.
before they commit to trying to file bankruptcy.
Right.
Because bankruptcy is a last resort. It's not something you do.
Exactly.
It's not something you do lightly. It's not something that's fun.
No.
It's a necessary thing. It's provided for in Article 1 of the Constitution. It came before the Bill of Rights. Not many people know that. But if you think about it, it makes sense. You got to have a safety valve for small business owners and people,
Right.
as opposed to debtor's prison, which is not a real good idea.
Yeah.
But we suggest that, and they have a lot of resources, and they're very, very inexpensive.
that is
Really?
good.
Yeah, they're
That is good.
virtually free or income based, or they do have fees, but they're very,
sliding
very
scale,
nominal. Yeah,
okay.
they're very nominal. So,
That's cool.
But back to the identity theft thing, it's a real problem, and it's not getting better anytime soon. The more internet, phone, web, more based we are with that, the less human contact there is. People don't use cash anymore.
Right.
You have to have.
Well, you have to have a credit
you have
card to do a lot of things.
Yeah,
these
I mean,
days.
yeah, you can't rent a car without a
No.
credit card. You can't get you can't get on an airplane,
Mm-hmm.
let alone to buy gas. It's so much easier to put your card in at the pump rather than to go in and if it's raining or something, you don't want to do
Right.
that.
Not only that, but you got to
It's
say,
just-
okay, how much you want? You give it
Yeah.
there, then you do it, then
Right.
you go back and get
Then
your
you got-
change, and it's like,
yeah.
come on,
Yeah,
Right.
come on.
yeah, the days of pay after you pump
Are
pretty
gone.
much gone. I saw one the
They're
other day, but it wasn't
Really?
around here. Yeah,
Oh, I've not seen one of those
in
in a while.
the rural areas, you still see it.
Do you see them, Jeff? In the roll? Do you see them? Really?
Yeah, they're still around. But
Well, if you get into credit card theft, though, on your side of this, in law enforcement side, that's got to be tricky. Is it hard?
Oh, it's very hard to,
Okay.
when you look at those type of cases, because of how long it takes to investigate those, you virtually have no suspects. You have to build your suspect base. Those cases are longer, more intense than some of our homicide cases. Most of
Really?
our homicide
Wow.
cases. Yeah,
Okay.
because it's just, you almost have to be a banker or an accountant to get
figure all
through
that out, right.
everything.
not to mention a computer expert.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Tough.
And when you get into the individuals that are very good at creating identities,
Yeah.
they're virtually impossible to catch.
Well, they may well not be here. They're in.
correct.
Some of them are
They're
in Florida.
Well, some of them are
Sorry.
in Russia and
Well, that too.
in
How much of that actually
Nigeria
ties?
and- yeah, they're
How
not
much of
here.
that ties into like the Western Unions or the MoneyGram or something like that? I mean, do those correlate with one another with some of the fraud that goes on too around this time?
Yeah, Yeah.
see
Anything
that?
dealing with money.
Anything dealing
Anything
with money.
dealing with money.
Any of it.
Any of
You know,
it.
somebody's going to figure out how to scam it. Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. Somebody, starting with counterfeit money. I mean, somebody's going to figure it out.
I don't get it.
How much do you see of that around here anymore? Counterfeit money, is that still?
You still see it. It's not as prevalent because this is so much easier. And
Sure,
it's,
sure.
Getting caught is very difficult. With counterfeit money, it makes it a little bit easier to catch you because there's a lot of mechanisms to see that. But we had a employee with the sheriff's office this week get a letter from what he thought was a Wells Fargo, had the emblem and everything on it, saying, "Hey, please contact us. We need to confirm your account number." And he has
A Wells Fargo account.
Wells Fargo account.
Wow.
But it was a total scam.
Not the same thing.
The other day, this year, since this fall sometime, I went home and there was a call on our recorder at home saying, "This is the IRS. We need you to call us and we need your numbers." That is a scam, and it has been going around. And I had just been telling a client who has tax issues. She had called in a panic because the IRS, quote unquote, had called her. And I said, "No, they don't call you. They don't do
They
that."
don't, yeah.
But on my phone, I had the same thing when my wife and I went home, and I told my
My
wife,
dad got one of those. He was
"No,
all
yeah,
upset.
they don't do that."
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they
when-
really try to pick on the elderly.
Yes,
That's what I think
yes,
too.
Comes down to that.
Yes. And the
Which makes it even
and they're-
lower.
And they're
I
terrified.
agree.
They're terrified.
they are.
Yeah, you get a call from the IRS saying, "This is Agent Brown at the IRS, and we're going to come out and take your house and your car tomorrow if you don't wire us $10,000." I mean, that's a scam.
Yeah.
But people do it. They
People
fall
do.
for
Good. Well, it is a little less suspicious when you get to go, "Oh, my name is Bob and I'm here for the IRS. All right, 47 minutes past the hour. Let's take one more break, wrap up hour number 2 here with all of our wonderful guests right here on The Voice of Reason on KQAM. We'll be back.
Too funny.
One of the things that,